friends, and welcome back to another episode of Navigating Wellness. In today's episode, we're diving into the spiritual domain. But before I get started, I just want to say that this isn't about me trying to tell anyone what to believe. Neither is it about me dismissing religion in its entirety. It's about me sharing my personal journey and my evolving perspectives. If this doesn't resonate with you, that is totally fine. It's more about me trying to open up space for reflection and a bit of open mind thinking. So with that said, let's jump right into today's episode. For many of us, religion is this first doorway into our understanding of this idea of God, of faith and divinity. It establishes the structure for our lives, it gives us a sense of reality, and it also provides the sense of belonging and a sense of community. And on the positive note, it does help to instill within us our values, our ethics, and give us a sense of discipline. However, there is a dark side to religion, and that is for those who really dive deeper and have this questioning mind, you start to recognize that religion has been established as a control mechanism in this matrix structure. And that is through no fault of the gurus, or the priests, or monks. And it's not because they intend any harm, but because this very system has been designed to enslave people and keep people at the very surface level understanding of true spirituality, never to dive deeper and understand our true essence and purpose on this earth. For many of us, it ends up framing God or Source as something outside of ourselves, something that is so far out there that it is almost unreachable. And it results in us not taking responsibility for our co-creation of this reality. It leads us to taking on this belief that we lack sovereignty, that we are victims in this reality, and we don't end up taking responsibility for our co-creation on this earth. And as a result, we tend not to prioritize our self-evolution because we see ourselves as victim in this world. And it is only once we start to dive deeper within the spiritual framework, beyond the surface level of religion, that we truly get to the essence of our spiritual existence here, who we are and what we're supposed to do, and how our evolution should be at the foundation of our lives, rather than this mundane matrix structure that keeps us in this trap of repetitive birth-death cycle. In most cases, religion often leads people down one of two paths. Now, that's not all the cases, but in most cases. And the first part is either we go through the motions and we go through the rituals and prayers, but this is often done mindlessly, without any true connection to God, Source, or divinity. On the other end, you have people who start to lose faith, who start to pull away from religion altogether and turn to atheism. Now, in both cases, the consequence is that our self-evolution, as well as our direct connection to God's Source, ends up taking a backseat. And as a result, from a spiritual perspective, we start to get totally disconnected from God's Source and divinity. And we fall victim to this matrix structure and lose focus on our true purpose of taking birth on this planet. So true spirituality, at least from what I've come to understand, is not about dismissing everything we learned in religion or from religious text and just discarding everything in the bin. That was the mistake I made. It's about diving deeper to really understand who we are at that spiritual essence level. And sometimes it may lead you down many paths that may lead you to dead ends. However, all these paths that we find ourselves down are part of the journey. They end up teaching us how to become more discerning, to recognize paths that may in the future not be for us, and we start to become more attuned to where we need to go. We start to have a deeper connection to what really resonates with us at that deeper level, and this helps us navigate this path much more better, and we start to recognize that we are co-creators in this reality, and to recognize our role in creating our own reality, and to seek to embody higher states of divinity through evolving ourselves, to breaking through all the traumas and the misbeliefs and indoctrination that often keeps us in this egoic trap that is often incubated by this matrix structure. And as we start to break down these layers of illusions that are imposed upon us, we start to awaken to greater states of understanding of our spiritual existence here, the need to evolve, how we need to break down these false understandings of reality and these false beliefs that we hold on to. And it's not a quick fix exercise, and it's one that I still find myself at the very initial stages of. But it's once we have our mind set on this path, at least we move in that direction. At least you have a better framework for where you are taking your foundational understanding of reality and how you are building and constructing that free from the distortions of the matrix. And that leads us to this part of seeking to embody greater states of divinity within ourselves, to start to see the potential for God to exist within everything around us, including ourselves. And by moving through reality in this way, we can start to embrace these higher states of divinity by starting to surround ourselves or to keep our circle of influence as the ascended masters, by trying to look at the values and the traits for inspiration, because many of us end up surrounding ourselves with people who may not be at that level of understanding, and this often ends up becoming like a trap that pulls us deeper and deeper into the matrix rabbit hole. And this was the intention of at least my understanding from going through this or going on this path, is that a lot of this prayer and meditations on these higher beings or ascended masters was for us to start to focus our attention on the traits, on the values, on the characteristics of these ascended masters, so that we can start to recognize how we need to evolve ourselves to start to embrace more of those qualities and to heal from our own personal traumas or let go of those egoic beliefs that have been embedded within us that keep us enslaved within this reality. And as we start to break through those, then we start to take on greater levels of this divinity of God source energy within us. And it's a journey, but at least if we have the direction and the understanding right, then we can continue on this path rather than falling victim to the matrix and just going about living this life mindlessly, seeing ourselves as victim and not really recognizing our co-creating role in this reality. Notion that probably justifies repetition, because it took me a long time to get to this understanding because of the levels of indoctrination imposed by religion. And that is, throughout history there have been many beings that have embodied these higher states of consciousness, beings that are referred to now as ascended masters, as deities, gods, teachers. And these are beings like Krishna, Buddha, Ram, Shiva, Jesus Christ, that were able to embody these higher states of divine God source energy. And the intention is not for us to worship them as distinct idols, but to learn from their values, to align ourselves with their example, and to let that alignment break down these false identities and the beliefs that are created by the ego and that are incubated by this matrix world that we live in. This is where I'm at in terms of my journey. My perspectives, they may evolve today, tomorrow, this year, or soon after this video. However, this is what gives me a sense of peace. This is what allows me to have a better appreciation of higher and divine and our evolutionary path on this planet. Now, if this resonates with you, then great. If it doesn't, that's okay too. My hope here is to inspire and encourage anyone out there who is stuck on that surface level and wants to look deeper and to recognize that there is more, so that you can also embrace spirituality in a much more deeper way than all of this surface level indoctrination that tends to erode our understanding of true spirituality and to keep us enslaved within this matrix system. If you have any comments, please drop it down in the comment section below. I hope this video has been helpful or has served as some sort of inspiration. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.